This is the Cyclops starting on page 43. Alongside the pens lay a long trunk of an olive tree, the size of a mast from one of our ships. I cut off a strip, sharpened it to a point, and because it was still green, placed it in front of the fire to harden. When I was satisfied with my work, I hid the weapon under the layers of dung that lay around the cave. Too anxious to talk or eat, we waited for the monster to return. He came at nightfall, driving his flock before him into the cave. Perhaps he sensed that he was at risk. Perhaps Sun God had warned him. I don't know, but this time he didn't want to leave a single ram or billy goat out of the fenced courtyard. When all the animals were inside, he rolled the massive boulder back into place and began milking his flocks as before. He put the lambs and kids with their mothers, set some of the milk aside to curdle, and then grabbed 2 more of my men and made his bloody meal of them. He was still belching and spitting out their bones when I decided to put my plan into action. There was no time to lose. I had with me a skin of a dark, fragrant wine that Moran, the priest of Apollo at Ismarus, had given me because I had protected him and his family from the brutality of my men. This was special wine, a drink for the gods, with a heady fragrance that made it irresistible. Moran would mix it with 20 parts of spring water when he offered it to his friends, and 1 glass was still enough to make them drunk. I filled a bowl to the brim with the undiluted wine and carried it over to the Cyclops. Pitiless Cyclops, I began, terrified that he would devour me then and there. Surely you've had your fill of human meat. You've eaten 6 of my men, and there are only 7 of us left. I had intended to offer you this wine in return for our hospitality. Now I can only hope that its divine fragrance will soften your heart and turn your thoughts to mercy. The grinning monster grabbed the bowl and swallowed the wine in a single gulp. He belched noisily and demanded another, which he drank like the first. His grin slackened, and he belched again, and then smacked his fleshy lips and rubbed his vast stomach. Well, 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 little Greek, you've managed to surprise me. We Cyclops make good wine, but this is a different class. Give me some more and tell me your name. In return for your excellent wine, I'm going to do a special favor for you. The Cyclops let out an evil chuckle. He slapped his sides and roared with laughter, so that the cave echoed and the flock shifted uneasily in their pens. The wine was having its effect. The Cyclops drank 3 more bowls in quick succession. His grin became a drunken leer, and when he spoke again he slurred his words. Come on then, little Greek. I asked you your name. Out with it. No need to be shy. The humor of the monster. I tried to sound as meek as possible. To humor the monster, I tried to sound as meek as possible, which under their circumstances was only too easy. Mighty Cyclops, my name is No Man. Now I beg you to grant me the favor you promised me. Well, No Man, this is what I'm going to do. I'll put you at the bottom of the menu and eat all your friends first. That way you'll be able to enjoy my hospitality a little longer. And with a final belch and braying laugh, the monster slumped into a drunken stupor and began snoring. Immediately I pulled the wooden stake from its hiding place and thrust it into the embers of the fire. Within minutes it was glowing red hot. Trembling with fear, we carried it over the sleeping giant, lay flat on his back, and raised it above his head. I gave the word, now, and my men drove the stake into the monster's single eye, while I hung from the top to add more force. There was a loud hiss as the burning wood pierced the watery membrane. The eye streamed for a moment, and blood gushed out. The Cyclops awoke with a hideous scream, and we immediately scattered out of his reach. He wrenched at the stake from his eye and hurled it against the wall. In the dim light of the cave, I could see at once that his eyeball was burned right out. The Cyclops would never see again. The cave echoed with his roars of pain and anger, and his flocks cowered in their pens as he crashed blindly about searching for us. Terrified like the animals, we huddled together among them until he gave up the search. Then he called out to his fellow Cyclops across the land. They came rushing to his cave. Polyphemus, they shouted when they had gathered around the entrance. What on earth is the matter? Has someone attacked you or stolen your flocks, that you wake the whole island at this time of night? No man has attacked me, the Cyclops shouted back. No man is hiding in my cave. If no one's there, then you must be having nightmares, replied the other Cyclops impatiently. Go back to bed, and let us get some sleep. With that they went away, leaving the blinded monster groaning alone. When his friends had gone, he groped his way to the entrance and rolled the huge boulder aside. Then he sat in the opening and stretched out his hand on either side, hoping to catch us when he sneaked out. He should have realized by now that he was not dealing with fools. I chose the biggest rams with the thickest fleece and fastened them together 3 by 3. Then we waited. We waited until dawn. As soon as it was light, the rams crowded up the entrance and began running out to pasture, while the ewes, with their full udders, clamored to be milked. In his anguish, the Cyclops ignored the bleeding ewes. He sat in the entrance, feeling the back of the rams as they squeezed past him. He never thought to feel under their bellies. Once my 6 companions were through, I clung to the underside of my own ram and took my chance. Polyphemus stopped my ram at the entrance and plunged his hands into its thick black fleece. My heart was pumping so loudly that I thought the giant was bound to discover me, but he only stroked the ram and sighed, and then, with a final groan, he let it run free. I soon caught up to my companions, and we united them. Without wasting a moment, we rounded up dozens of plump sheep and drove them to our waiting ship. My men began to lament their lost comrades, but I coldly told them to save their tears for later. I was anxious to sail away from the land of the Cyclops as quickly as we could. Once we were clear of the shore, I called out to the monster, determined to torment him. "Polyphemus, your cruel hospitality has been rewarded. Perhaps now you'll learn to respect both gods and men." The Cyclops, who was stumbling blindly around the hillside, turned angrily to the sea when he heard my voice. He tore an enormous rock from the top of the cliffs and hurled it towards us. It narrowly missed our prow and threw up a great wave, washing our ship back toward the beach. I pushed us out of shallow with a long pole, while my men rowed furiously to carry us out of the monster's rage. When we were twice as far as the shore as before, I turned back to face the Cyclops. My men tried to dissuade me, but I was still bitterly angry, and I cried out again, "Polyphemus, last night you asked me my name, and I told you it was No Man. You were stupid enough to believe me. Now I want you to know it wasn't No Man who blinded you, but Odysseus, son of Laertes, and destroyer of Troy." The Cyclops buried his head in his hands and shook it slowly from side to side. "Now I understand," he groaned. "This was all foretold many years ago, but I never suspected that Odysseus would turn out to be a puny little wretch like you. I should have killed you when I had the chance. Now I must pray to my father, Lord Poseidon, god of the sea, to heal my injured eye." I laughed at the stricken giant. "Your prayers will go unanswered, Polyphemus. Not even Zeus himself could restore your sight. You are blind for life." "A curse on you, little Greek, and all your companions," roared the Cyclops, shaking with rage. "Hear me, my father Poseidon, the earth-shaker, and grant your son his heartfelt prayer. May Odysseus never see his home again. However, if he's fated to return, make sure that his journey's long and miserable, and that his companions die, and that is his bitter homecoming." Poseidon heard his prayer, and the curse of the Cyclops had pursued me ever since. When he had cursed us, the monster hurled another huge rock towards us, but now they were out of range, and it fell harmlessly behind us. The wave carried us from the shore, out of danger. Polyphemus and his fellow Cyclops could not follow us because he had no ships. We had been safe on the smaller island after all. We soon reached the beach after we had left the main fleet 2 days before. There we mourned our dead companions, and I slaughtered the largest ram to make a special offering to Zeus. It turned out to be a wasted sacrifice. After we made a great feast of the sheep that we had stolen from the Cyclops and drank to the memory of our lost comrades. That night we slept where we lay on the beach, and when dawn came, we pushed out to sea once more.